Is it invasive or not? How would I evaluate this? Number two, how deep? How would I measure it? From where to where? So there is a soft finding, and it's beautiful when it reads the book, and I'm like, fine. If everything like this, I can be super pathologist. If there is stromal reaction, if there is loss of the lobular contour, it's not as beautiful lobular architecture as it is. And if it's striking increased glandular density, extensive interglandular architectural or complexity or reforming, and the cytology is slightly different from the IIS. It's more angry looking, and deep extension or perivascular invasion. Well, if you have the vascular invasion, you are in business. Perivascular, usually, it can be, and the deep extension. And believe me, there are multiple studies, and I'll tell you about one. I didn't put it here not to complicate the issue regarding this. You agree with this is invasive, right? No question about it. And I have these, they are in the stroma. This is exophytic lesion. Most of the time in the cervical adenocarcinoma, it's exophytic, papillary exophytic. But would I measure it from here down? Would I measure it from here down? Or would I measure it from here down? In the book, they tell you the closest AIS gland to the deepest gland, invasive gland. So it will be only from here to here. Let's see. Another one. You agree this is invasive, right? No question. And these are the evidence that they are invading. So the best way, if these are all the closest in situ, and this is exophytic, the depth of invasion will be from here to here. Okay? You agree? And every millimeter means something for the patient, and especially in the 1A1 and 1A2 measurement. So sometimes it's so difficult. So we do our best. We put a comment and do our best. And that measures the greatest extent of possibly invasive carcinoma, and we look for vascular invasion. So in this endophytic adenocarcinoma, the depth of invasion, I'm in business, from the most superficial, supposedly AIS, to the deepest one. So this is fine. Okay? The next one, how about this case? Where would I measure from? It's endophytic, it's not exophytic. And would I pull it from the surface down here? Probably, but is this the real depth of invasion? Or it's the tumor thickness? This is the difference between both of them. So I could put the tumor thickness and do the best I could. So this is why we call it tumor thickness. And we have to measure both thickness and the horizontal. And I'll show you why. And again, back to that previous image I put, is the, in the exophytic, is it from here to here? God, it's a huge lesion. Someone might argue with me from here to here, or even from here to here. So we do our best, and we show the cases. This is why it's confusing. And it's confusing to me, believe me. And this is why I put it here. It's not an easy, and if you cannot do it, do tumor thickness. Okay? And this is what we measure. Sometimes we're lucky, we go the horizontal and from the surface down. Okay, so both measurement. How I'm doing this time? Am I okay or am I over? I start already. So this is why I emphasized a lot about the tumor, the depth of invasion. Because 1A1, the depth equal or less than 3 millimeter, and the horizontal extension less or equal to 7 millimeter. And why all of the fuss about this? Because of the management. We have a patient we have to deal with. It is conservative therapy, only leave. Okay? If we move to 1A2, the depth, it's 2 millimeter difference. Okay? Less or equal to 5, and the horizontal less or equal to 7 millimeter. Look at the difference. Radical therapy, more than conservative therapy. Okay? So 2 millimeter, this is why I always argue with this one oncologist. I actually doesn't reach the oncologist, still you're dealing with the gynecologist. And moving more to 1B1. 1B1, it's exceeding 1A2, and the treatment is radical therapy, or when you see a visible lesion. You know, when the gynecologist will see a visible lesion, we call it 1B1. And it's always incisional biopsy to diagnose the invasive, followed by radical surgery. So this is why cone biopsy is curative in 1A1. And we always look for conservative therapy before doing any radical, especially in fertility age group. These patients, most of them are young. But remember, there is no vascular invasion though, and we look for them very closely. So I'll go quick over this because I like to review the variant of invasive adenocarcinoma, and I started 10 minutes late, so I'll go 5 minutes, okay? So again, in the cone and the lead, the margins are very, very important. In the hysterectomy, you have to put the tumor measurement, depth of invasion or tumor thickness, and the horizontal. Of course, the lymphovascular invasion, if it is there or not. This is actually from Sloan Kettering. They are now, believe it or not doing hysterectomy, but doing trachelectomy. It's the cervix and the lower uterine segment to preserve fertility. And there is a lot of data about it, and it is really a beautiful, successful story after that. It's not that easy, but it's doable, and they do sentinel lymph node as well. So these are the new, probably it's been there for 5 years or more, but this was the new treatment. So no hysterectomy, they call it trachelectomy. Okay, so as I said, anything in the cervix is supposed to be HPV. However, in the invasive endocervical adenocarcinoma, there are few or rare carcinoma that they are HPV negative. What's the origin? It's very debatable. And the usual type, the variant, they are all behave the same stage by stage, but as a pathologist, we have to appreciate them or know how to diagnose them and call them. This is a classic endocervical adenocarcinoma. Villoglabellar, I do not give this diagnosis because it gives false positive, or false negative, I should say. It's more reassuring. I do not give it, but it's in the literature. It's very well differentiated endocervical adenocarcinoma. Sometimes, so we call it sampling. This is a classic endocervical adenocarcinoma. Look what I have. I have a monster here. What do you think your differential here?
Maybe metastatic.
Sorry?
Metastatic. It may be metastatic.
It's in the differential metastatic. What else?
Mixed Mullerian.
Mixed with?
Mixed Mullerian or mixed with endometrial.
It's in the differential. It's very small cells molding, a lot of mitosis and apoptosis. The cells are hugging each other. Chromogranin positive, synaptophysin positive. This is a monster, small cell carcinoma. So sampling. You don't want to miss this. And it's HPV positive. There are a few unusual variants that it is controversial that if they are HPV positive or negative. The monster, another one, the adenoma malignum-like, and I have a few slides. Clear cell, remember the DES in utero, the patients used to have it, and they are now in their 40 years old. We call it clear cell carcinoma. Serous is vanishingly rare, and then mesonephric. They are so rare. So most of the time, 80%, they are the usual invasive endocervical adenocarcinoma, but sometimes you might see this. So this is what I thought quick, I'll mention them. Adenoma malignum is the one I like to mention. It's HPV negative. Clear cell carcinoma, it's clear cell carcinoma. It's beautiful to take pictures of it, and you'll see a lot of images because I love this tumor, and I'll tell you why. Adenoma malignum, why it is so difficult to diagnose. It's so well differentiated. It's look like normal in the cervical glands. Look at this. But they are malignant. If you look very, very careful, you'll see few atypical cells, angulated glands, and deep invasion, very poor prognosis because whenever they discover it in an advanced stage. and it is HPV difficult. Stay with me, 5 minutes, okay? Look at that. Over here, you say, I want to do endometrial metaplasia, what I'm dealing with. Look at high power. You got mitosis, you got ugly-looking cells. More close to the vessels, this is vascular channel. And look at here, this is vessels. These cells, they love to go close to the vessels. And angulated, bizarre looking. So whenever you pick up on one atypical gland, you'll see the rest. It'll be easy. It'll start showing and showing. The good thing, it's so rare of tumor. Honestly, in my 13 years of practicing, I think I saw 5 cases only. CEA is positive. MUC5 is positive. It is the origin of these mucin, it's gastric type. So MUC5 will be positive as well, CEA. And Ki67 will be positive. HPV negative, I didn't put HPV here, but Ki67, because it's proliferating, it's malignant. So Ki67 will be very helpful. And the differential diagnosis, believe it or not, it's the lobular endocervical hyperplasia. This is benign completely, but sometimes when it goes deep, and sometimes you see some atypical, look at it, how deep it goes. This is the differential diagnosis. So you don't want to overcall this or undercall the malignant. This is the differential. Tunnel cluster, as simple as it is, it's in the differential diagnosis, because sometimes it gets so deep, you know, but it's the lobular architecture of it. There is no invasive, there is no single glands everywhere, but it's in the differential diagnosis. Okay, what else would I tell you quick? I have 2 things to share with you. Endometrioid adenocarcinoma. If you have ECC, okay, and you get a lesion like, I'll show you the example, but it's very important to differentiate between, I have a malignant lesion in the ECC, in the cervical glandular curetis. Is it endometrioid? Because I have a variant of AIS as endometrioid. Or is it really, it's endometrioid type, but is it from the cervix or is it from the endometrium? It's very important because the treatment is completely different. This is why I thought I'll give you this little table. It's the age of the patient. In the endometrial primary, the patient are postmenopausal. In the endocervical primary, the patient most of the time premenopausal. You'll get it more in the endometrial curetis more than ECC. It's the opposite in the other one. And the background, if you are lucky, you get endometrial hyperplasia. The other one, AIS, and it's more apoptosis, mitosis, and or if you're lucky, you'll get the squamous lesion with it. You know. Really, I start looking at this, the foam cells might be very helpful in the endometrioid adenocarcinoma of the endometrium and the squamous metaplasia. The other one, again, look for the mitosis and the apoptosis. It might be very, very helpful. Expression, ER, PR, and Vimentin positive. The other one, diffuse expression of CEA. P16 might be tricky, and I'll tell you. And again, at the end, you throw it to your physician. I cannot tell you, nothing wrong with that. I did my best, I did the stains, I did recut, I showed it. You go back to your gynecologist and tell them, you do your studies more, you know, and it's nothing wrong with that. The immunohistochemistry, the one it will help you, Vimentin. It is negative in the endocervix, positive in the endometrium, CEA, and it's both of them are very helpful together. CEA is positive in the endocervix, negative in the endometrium. ER/PR honestly never helped me. It's always confusing, but it is positive in the endometrium, negative in the cervix. P16 supposedly positive, and I'll show you the trick in P16. Before that, let's look at this. What do you think? If you think this is in the cervix, raise your hand. This is ECC, and it's real case. So, you think it's in the cervix? Endometrial, raise your hand. So it's kind of 50-50, well 25-25, another 50 are not with me, or they are debating. Okay, look at the stains. H&E, P16 diffusely positive, Vimentin in the gland is negative, CEA is positive, so I made up to say it's in the cervix. Okay, but Look at the P16 here. In FIGO1 endometrioid adenocarcinoma, it's negative. However, and you'll see this, look at the serous carcinoma or FIGO3 or 2, clear cell, it's positive. So only it will help in well-differentiated endometrial carcinoma. In the high grade, it will not help you. Remember, it's in the cell cycle, P16, it will be positive. So it's only the differential diagnosis between FIGO grade 1 endometrial carcinoma and endocervical endocarcinoma. Mucin lesion might be tricky. So what do you think about this? Endocervical or endometrial? I'm done. I have this image and it's a quiz time. How about that? So look at this. Is that endocervix or endometrial? Again, it's ECC.
Is it the surface of the lesion or the middle of the blood?
I cannot tell you more. No, just you got that image. It's, you know, let's have fun. So raise your hand if you think it's endocervix. All right? And raise your hand if you think it's endometrial. All right, let's look at this. High power. The Vimentin, it's diffusely positive, it's endometrial. Believe me, it gets so tricky, and sometimes you cannot tell. So, the other one, how about this one? A little bit, the last one. Endocervix? Oh, no one's raising now. Endometrial? All right, let's look. What about now? Let's see it. I don't know. Actually, every endometrial adenocarcinoma, endometrial type, there is 40% mucinous metaplasia. So mucin, you see it very common in endometrial carcinoma. This case was endometrial. Okay? Thank you so much. And I'm here for you.
Thank you very much, Professor Rupa, Ali, and it was very interesting, and I think everybody is going now to look at the gland in the service and see what's going on with them. At least in your presentation, you gave us a way out with the immunohistochemistry, and we can be helped by that. Thank you. Now we are going to